Delanco Township Committee Meeting of February 2nd, 2026, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Delanco Township Municipal Building, 770 Coopertown Road, Delanco, New Jersey. We are recording.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Township Committee Meeting, February 2nd, 2026. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bartlett.
Here.
Mr. McFadden.
Here.
Mr. Olet.
Here.
Ms. Seuss.
Here.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Here. Also present, Mrs. Seminaro, our Township Administrator, Mr. Fox, our Township Engineer, Mr. Heinhold, our Township Solicitor, Mrs. Russell, our Municipal Clerk, Mrs. Hart, our Deputy Municipal Clerk, Mr. Fenimore, Superintendent of Public Works, and Mr. Warren, our Police Chief. Please join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think Scott wants to have a moment of silence.
Yeah, I'd like to have a moment of silence for Steve Colangelo. Steve passed away unexpectedly last Tuesday. Although Steve lived in Edgewater Park, he had a huge connection here in Delanco. Steve owned Unlimited Comfort Heating and Air. He had an incredibly large customer base here in Delanco, and you could see him at 7-Eleven getting coffee 4, 5, 6 times a day. He was also a huge supporter of our Delanco Youth Sports Association and Del Riv as a gold sponsor for many, many years, as well as a donor to the fire department during our donation drive. So we can have a moment of silence for Steve. Thank you. And I did go to the services on Thursday last week, and it was just a huge, huge line. Just so many people there who love Steve and knew Steve through his work with the organizations or just contractors, customers. The line was out the door. It came out in that 8-degree cold weather, so that says something. Thank you, Kate.
Certainly does. You're welcome. Deborah, would you read the Sunshine Statement?
Of course, Mayor. Please be advised that proper notice of this meeting has been given in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act in the following manner. Written notice has been mailed to the Burlington County Times and Courier Post and published in the December 28, 2025 editions. Written notice has been posted on the official bulletin board of the Township of Delanco at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. Live stream statement. This meeting of the Delanco Township Committee may be transmitted via live stream on YouTube video. The streaming of the meeting is not intended to be relied upon as formal public access under Open Public Meetings Act, and if the technology is disrupted for any reason, the Township meeting will proceed in person as an official meeting in accord with the official notice. Please silence your cell phones and refer to the rules governing public comment attached to this agenda.
Thank you, Ben. This time I'd like to read a proclamation observing Black History Month. Whereas each February, National Black History Month serves as both a celebration and a powerful reminder that Black history is American history, Black culture is American culture, and Black stories are essential to the ongoing story of America, our faults, our struggles, our progress, and our aspirations. And whereas across the generations, countless Black Americans have demonstrated profound moral courage and resilience to shape our nation for the better and in the face of wounds and obstacles, including enslavement and segregation, perpetrated by the nation itself, Black Americans led in every part of society today, strengthening and uplifting all of the United States of America. And whereas America is a melting pot of cultures and ethnicities, all part of the land of the free, Black History Month fosters cultural awareness and understanding while encouraging education above contributions made by Americans of color. And whereas the celebration of Black History Month is a positive way of recognizing the culture and history of African Americans as vital to the core beliefs and values of our society. And whereas on behalf of the Township Committee and myself, we ask all Township residents to join in carrying forward the work to build a beloved community as described by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Our goal is to create a beloved community, and this will require a qualitative change in our souls as well as a quantitative change in our lives. Now therefore, I, Kate Fitzpatrick, Mayor of the Township of Delanco, do hereby proclaim and observe February 2026 as Black History Month and encourage the local citizenry to actively raise their own awareness of Black history, to recognize the struggles, achievements, and contributions of Black Americans through local Black History Month events. In witness whereof, the mayor, deputy mayor, and committee persons have caused these presents to be executed and sealed of the Township of Delanco affixed the second day of February 2026. And now I understand that Delran EMS has a presentation.
Chief Chuck McSweeney, right there. Come on up, Chuck.
Good evening. Glad to be here with you guys. Chuck McSweeney from Delran Emergency Squad. I'd like to just give you guys an update about what we were doing in 2025 as we're going into 2026, so you guys are aware of how we're servicing Delanco. For 2025, we've had a total of 3,511 calls totally for Delran EMS total. 349 of those patients were treated from Delanco. 83% of our 83 calls were canceled, and then we had 93 refusals, which means we came, we assessed, and they stayed behind. We did go to mutual aid 82 times while we were already on a call in town. We did go to mutual aid 15 times because we were out of town providing mutual aid to another municipality. We all seem to, we call it the Riverfront EMS, we'll have a few ambulances across a very large mass property, so we try to take care of each other. Our goal is to get out the door within 2 minutes. Our average right now for Delanco is 90 seconds. Our response time is 10, but we're actually doing it in about 8 minutes and 10 seconds. Bedside time is about 10 minutes to 12 minutes. We want to be off scene pretty quick en route to the hospital, and that's about 12 minutes, and our goal is about 20 minutes. So we're doing very good with that. Total times for calls for patients that are in Delanco are 46 minutes, but one of the unique things I'll tell you is the wall time, which is when we get the virtual Willingboro, or one of the other facilities, we wait 23 minutes to transfer the patient. Obviously, when, wintertime, flu season, stuff like that really backs us up, and that's when we rely on each other for covering our calls. Right now, we're averaging about 9.5 calls per day for EMS services in Delanco and also Delran, right? In 2024, we put Zoll AD 3 Plus in place. They were the newer high technology AEDs. 2025, we complement those with Lucas devices. Those Lucas devices are about $45,000. They're mechanical CPR. It's become the standard for CPR practice in the field, so we had gone ahead and put those in place. We also instructed 10 CPR instructors for our staff. So 10 of the staff are CPR. We're going to be doing community CPR outreach programs every month we're at Delran. If you guys are welcome to host some, we can have them over here with you guys also. We also continue to partner with Virtual and Cooper for all of our education, making sure all of our staff is trained with the most recent cardiology and trauma staff education stuff. And for 2025, our percentage of call volume that we budgeted or projected was 91%. So you're a little bit low, which is good. I mean, people are taking care of themselves and being safe, right? And then our billable call volume was at 94%. So while we did not hit 100%, we're doing very good. We're operating very lean. So we just want to provide that information to you guys and make sure you guys know that we're here servicing you guys. And if you need anything, please reach out to us, and we're here for you.
Thank you.
How are we with getting ambulance staff? Because I remember last time when we were in here, 24, I think, when you gave the yearly update, it was a little issue with getting people to actually want to work.
Still ain't there. Still there. You want to order? Come on. Actually, we were actually doing very well for about a year. Right after that, we did upper rates, and we are back down to having 2 full-time benefit eligible positions open, and there's just nobody applying. And this goes to Elmira, St. Vincent, Willingboro, Beverly. We're all struggling endeavor to find staff. We are working with the Department of Health to get our EMT basic program back up and running in 2027 in Delran. If that's the case, hopefully we can get 20 candidates that come through the class and they stay within this area and, provide service to us. But still tight with staffing.
I think the biggest issue is you're all robbing each other to kind of
We are,
backfill.
absolutely. Somebody pays 25 cents more an hour than you there. That's why we really invested in the full-time positions with benefit eligible and a very lucrative PTO program so they can have a lot of time off for mental health issues. But again, we are competing for the same small group of staff. There's very few people in EMS that work 2 jobs, if not 3.
3, 4.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So just wanted to provide that update to you guys. Thank you for the time tonight. And if you guys need anything, please let me know, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay, the meeting is now open to the public for comments and questions regarding agenda items. Session 1.
Hi, guys.
Hi, John.
How are you?
Hello.
Just a quick question.
State your name and address for
John
the
Brown,
record.
313 Peachtree, here as the Shade Tree Commissioner again this year. Quick point of order, you have a discussion item later on the agenda.
Yes.
Will I be able to speak, or shall I speak on the
Um,
second open session? Will you call me for an opinion?
Yeah, we're thinking of amending the appeal process, but yes, I would certainly
Okay.
let you speak.
All right, very good, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll close this portion of the meeting to the public and go on to our comments and reports. Township Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a few things this evening, starting with the unprecedented storm we just had. I just want to thank everybody for their patience, especially thanks to Public Works, John and his crew. It was a very tough storm. I'm sure he's going to go into a little more detail. And I did want to remind everybody that we do have an ordinance on the books to clear your sidewalks within 12 hours of daylight after the storm. We are well past that, and we've pretty much given a grace period because we do know personally and here how hard it was to get the sidewalks clear. So I just wanted to pretty much put everyone on alert that they're going around writing citations now, starting today. We did post it, but please get your sidewalks cleared, especially for the walking district that we live in and kids trying to get to school and get through the ice. Second, I just wanted to, one of the items on the agenda is we have a shared service agreement with the Board of Ed. So we've worked out where we can share an employee to save money and both benefit from this great guy that we just met today, and he's already off to a great start. So just wanted to bring up, they're doing good things with the school that we're sharing, and we're trying to come up with ways that we can maybe share more things and save money. The budget process is underway, so I've received the budget requests. I'm starting to process everything. So within the next month, I'll be meeting with the different departments, and then we'll have our meetings with Township Committee and the departments and work that through. So as part of that, there is an ordinance on the agenda this evening, and it is a bookkeeping entry every year. The statutes allow for us to increase our cap, and it's not the budget, it's just the spending cap, by a certain amount. This ordinance allows us to go up to the maximum amount. Again, there's no implication on the tax rate, it just is, authorizes us for items that are within the cap that aren't debt related, to increase them so that we can match the services that we want to continue to provide, if need be. Let's see.
We do an ordinance every year.
Every year,
Yeah,
yes, it's
we do.
standard every single year. There are also resolutions on here for the playground at Babe Ruth. We did receive $175,000 county grant that we are using towards playground equipment. So this will authorize us to use state contract to purchase the equipment. And finally, I will not steal the chief's thunder, but we do have a couple of transfers on here, resolutions for an officer leaving and an officer coming, that I will let you, chief, get into more detail about
Thank you.
our staffing, and that is it.
Thank you. It looks like the professionals, I skipped them, they weren't written here, so we'll go to Harry first. Sorry.
Okay, no problem, thank you, Mayor. I'll be very brief, there's not a lot going on right now with the weather. it's sold yet. Any of us don't work, the older survey was. But the,
I can't hear you, Harry.
Thanks. The crossings in Delanco, the developer has requested what he's calling a final punch list. It may or may not be a final punch list, depending on how they perform. But what they want to do is they want to get a list, and they're assuring us, once again, that they're just going to do everything on that list to get off of the bond. We'll see how that happens.
Right.
Again, the weather is holding up. I was trying to have the punch list done last week, actually, but it's impossible to do in this
Oh, yeah, definitely.
situation. So that will be coming out. The 2025 Love Lake grant, that's the Newton's Landing and school parking lot. Our design is complete on that. We'll be sending it. We need one more signature, I think, from Bevan. We'll coordinate that. And then we'll be sending that to the state for their approval. They're usually 2 to 3 weeks turnaround time. Once they give us our approval for that, then I'll talk to Administrator Deborah and see when we want to advertise it and select it on that. But again, that to show the school knows, if anybody's here at the school board, the school parking lot in our specifications requires us to start after June. So that'll be done, it won't be done during the school year. And they can't go within inconvenience. And that's all I have on that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Harry? No? Okay. Doug?
Just want to give a brief update. We have an ordinance on for first reading tonight, so we really won't be discussing it as part of the consent agenda, but I just wanted to make the public aware and just have a brief discussion about it. We have a memo from Clark Caton Hints, our affordable housing planners, outlining sort of the timeline that we have to act under. There's a deadline of March 15th. By introducing this ordinance tonight and adopting on March 2nd, we'll be well within that timeline. It does require a referral to the planning board, which will happen tomorrow night. And essentially, we are completely updating our Chapter 58. It's not exactly like the way the stormwater ordinances work, where the state says, here's your ordinance, go ahead and adopt it, but it's not that far from it either. The new regulations have come out, and Mary Beth from Clark Caton Hints was actually part of the group of planners who helped develop this ordinance for adoption. There are some things that are not changing. A lot is not changing. Some updates are being made. The ordinance covers things like phasing of inclusionary development, more detail on unit types and bedroom mixes. An element that's important for what we're doing is extension of controls. I think because more towns are, because affordable housing is over 40 years old now, we're seeing extension of controls come up a lot more in towns, so there's more regulation and detail about how that is to be done. Development fees, if somebody's doing a development, commercial or residential, that has no affordable housing component built into it, how all of that works. Again, we are in a great position in fourth round affordable housing. In a lot of other towns around this time, you would see a lot of other ordinances in place that have to do with actually changing zoning or, rezoning a parcel to 100% affordable, if that's what you're doing, those sorts of things. Because we have units that we're just going to extend controls on, and we have some bank units from round 3, we're not really creating any new affordable units. We're just extending what we have and making sure that that remains available. By introducing this tonight, we'll adopt on March 2nd, assuming everything goes according to plan. And that's really the main action that the governing body has to do, as opposed to some other towns you might see around us that have a lot of other ordinances on to amend their zoning and do more aggressive, I would say, or more affirmative things to create more affordable housing. So we're in a great spot, and because of the work that was done in the third round, and because of the ability to extend controls and partners that are willing to work with us in that regard,
we are in a positive position. So I just wanted to note that for tonight's meeting, and that's really all I have to report.
Thank you, Doug. Chief?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. For January, we had a total of 14 police cases. There were 37 motor vehicle summonses issued with 108 motor vehicle stops, and there were 720 calls for service. It's funny, between yesterday being the first and today, around 1 o'clock, we already had 48 calls for this month, so these guys are running, so total for 768. So they're off and running, especially with the storm, they were just busy. And a lot of the calls that Delran advises about, our officers respond to all those first. So we're literally the first there waiting the arrival of our squad. So, but yeah, they've been very busy.
Yeah, so, I guess so.
Yeah, but we actually were fortunate to be hiring our first female officer.
I know.
Jasmine Vaccaro. She's coming from Riverside. And Patrolman Jackson, who we picked up last year, he felt that Beverly was a better place and fit for him. So we were able to make and facilitate that without being a detriment to our process right now with obtaining 16 officers. We're waiting for the certification of the current civil service list. Once that's complete, we have an officer that we're going to be picking up off of that, so we'll be able to reach our level of 16. So we're not going to believe that and causing undue stress on the officers again. So we're definitely moving in the right direction, but excited about Jasmine coming over. She's a 7-year vet and solid officer, so yeah, she's going to fit in nicely here.
That's
so,
good.
Yeah.
And what about Officer Hirschfield? Isn't he coming back soon?
He's back.
Oh, he's back?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he came back the 1st of January. So
good.
Yeah,
That's
he's finally
great.
back. Yeah, he was gone for 2.5 years. So yeah, he's finally back. He was on deployment. So
I guess he's probably glad to be home.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
he is.
That's good.
Definitely. So, but that's it for now.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, thank you.
John, how about?
It's been really quiet at Public Works.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been here a long, long time, and I'm telling you what, I've never seen snow like this and last. You always got some kind of a break where it warms up and melted so you can move it. It's not going anywhere. And I've been out with the loader, I'm clearing spots, and I've wore the blade down as far as I can wear it down without getting into the metal, so tomorrow that will be getting fixed. But the first storm, we plowed 2 times and we put salt out 2 times. We plowed the county, the second storm, 7 times and salted 4 times. Now, the most important road for us to keep clear is the county roads. And the second is the fire, because the police can't get nowhere without the county roads to get to somewhere. So that's what we usually try to do first. We did the schools a couple of times, we did the firehouse, we did here, I did everywhere, just going back and forth. Then we started having trouble with the windshield wipers. We went through over a dozen windshield wipers because the snow was powdery, and as soon as it hit the windshield, it froze because of the warm windshield. So everybody's windshield wipers getting ice on it and flying off, and it was just a fiasco. We had one of our dump trucks go down, but we got that fixed with the snow plow and also the old pickup truck that was mine. Like I say, we've been using the loader to try to get around and keep getting things back, and we'll be working to get everything back. The next big problem we're going to have is getting the storm drains open, if we can find the storm drains. But that's going to be our biggest challenge, to try to keep working to get them open, and hopefully that the snow will melt at a longer period of time instead of melting all at once, because if it does, we're going to get flooded out like you're not going to believe. But anyway, over the past storm, we traveled with our trucks or our vehicles over 1,500 miles. Okay, that's 1,500 miles. That's a lot of covering ground, and you know, going over streets, and it was just very, very difficult storm to try to get ahead, and you just had to stay with it. We got to get back out. I know we didn't do a good job on some of the streets, but the biggest problem is, where do you put the snow?
Yeah.
You know, that's the biggest problem. Where do you put it? You know, and you don't want to make anybody mad, because we made a lot of people mad, and they showed us with their hand signal, so, you know. But anyway, like I say, we're staying with it, and you know, it was just a long, drawn-out thing, and I'm still tired, and it just, you know, you just got to keep going and try to get the streets clear. And if somebody has a problem, I've helped out a lot of people getting their cars out, and I got into River's Edge, and if you would like to take a ride up there and think that you got a problem, see all the parking that isn't there, and where do you push the snow? It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Where do you push the snow? So, like I say, I'd like to apologize if I didn't get around, but we're still trying to get around. If somebody has any problems, just give us a call. I'll get out there as soon as I can. Thank you.
You did the best you could, John. You're
Yeah,
really
you did a great
had
job.
tough circumstances.
Consider,
so
yeah.
Thanks to all you and your guys.
We all did, yep.
Yeah.
And John, one thing you mentioned, you know, where do you put the snow? And I've heard from numerous people, just dump it in the creek or the river. Makes common sense. We actually talked about that on the county OEM coordinators call, and we had specific guidance from the New Jersey DEP that basically said, don't.
Yeah.
You've got to have a designated spot to put snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't just put it, because years ago, ours used to go to Union Avenue, you know, when we didn't have that fence there.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that. But we can put out 1 million tons of salt,
Right.
which nobody has any salt now.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the state gets the #1 draw from the salt. So unless the state doesn't get their, then the rest of us get the scraps. But
So are we out of salt now?
no, we're not out.
Oh, okay, because the governor did call me and
We
wanted
put
to
out-
know what we
put out-
needed.
Actually, we put out over 48 tons this time, the 2 past storms. So, and we got 1 truckload. We ordered 2. One was supposed to go because I keep salt at Edgewater and I keep salt at our building over in Delran. And just for 1 truckload, it's $1,500. So,
Well, thank you, John.
thank you.
Anybody have any questions for John?
How about the compost? Did you do anything with that?
Go frozen.
I guess that's frozen.
I
was
just feel like
thinking- I was
I'm
thinking of getting up there because it would be an ideal time to drench the leaves. Because, you know, you have to get them wet, and that would be good, but I'm not gonna get there for another 2 weeks probably.
When that snow eventually melts, that'll wet those leaves, John. And ice, yeah.
I just, we've had one other storm where it was big, and it took a long time to get away. You know, every day it gets over 32, a little bit goes, because it's just, you know, it's gonna take a while for it to melt. And if we get that real hot, you know, warm day and a hot, but, you know, that'll melt real quick, and then we're gonna have a problem.
I don't think we're gonna have any real warm days in the next week or 2. Maybe 33
2.
tomorrow.
One of the weirdest things was, my wife said to me, she says, I think you need to get home because I don't know if you're gonna be able to get in the front door. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
And when I pulled up, I had 4 foot of snow, 4 foot of snow at my front door. My roof pitches so much, and I guess it got, and it just poof. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It took me almost 20 minutes to get in the front door
Oh my
after working all the time.
Oh, wow.
I think your wife put it there just to not let you in.
To keep me out.
Yes,
Are you kidding?
exactly.
Thank you, John. Bev, do you have anything to report?
I do.
Good.
January, of course, is a busy month in the courts department with pet licensing, and this year we switched to a new system. So any residents that came in the first couple of days probably had 4 or 5 of us working on you at the window, but we did manage to learn the process, and I think it's been gone well for residents, as well as being able to take credit card payments now. I think has been a big help. It is a state law that all dogs have to be registered by January 31st, and it is our local law that cats as well. So if you have a pet that you haven't come in and renewed their license, you probably will be getting a late notice. We do ask that you come in and get that taken care of as soon as possible. The other big news in the township is our trash day changing for half of us. We were, as you've all been briefed, we were approached late this fall by Interstate Waste Services with a request to split the route into 2 days per week, with one half of the town being on Wednesday and the other on Thursday. And the reason for doing this was staffing and equipment resources and for greater efficiency. So they ran all through the month of December. They were running test runs, running 2 trucks, but keeping them separate in the way they wanted to cut the town in half, and found out that it was working very, very well. So basically, we're splitting the town in 2 halves with Burlington Avenue as the center point. One half of the town will be Thursday collection, and it's going to be the even numbered side of Burlington Avenue and homes on the Delaware River side, as well as the crossings, just to kind of even out the numbers. And then the homes and businesses on the odd-numbered side of Burlington Avenue toward Coopertown and Creek will move to Wednesdays. And that includes Newton's Landing and the point at Newton's Landing. Appliance and metal pickup will be the first and third week on the same day as your trash day collection. And recycling, which is we have no control over, that's the county, will remain on Thursdays for everyone. So we're doing a big push now to advertise social media through various outlets that we have available to us, email blasts and our website and flyers, and we're working on a mailer to go out to all the residents. So one thing Interstate Waste Services did say is they will work with us. This is all going to start March 1st, by the way, the first week in March. So if somebody is a Wednesday now and they forget to put their trash out, they are going to have a truck available that will come around and pick up. So, there'll be a little bit of growing pains, but I think it's going to work out well. I think we'll have less vehicle breakdown and better efficiency going forward. So,
Good.
and that's about it out of the clerk's department.
Thank you. Township Committee. Carolyn.
Thank you. January was a busy month. I attended the car show subcommittee meeting in the middle of the month to go over plans for our Centennial Car Show, which is on Saturday, May 16th. Registration is now open on DelancoCentennial.com for vendors, cars, and also for sponsorship. So if you have a local business and you want to sponsor, the registration is now open. I attended the recreation reorg meeting, and Al Graybov is reappointed as chair, and Tony Bartlett is the co-chair. They went over their events for the year and appointed subcommittees, and also talked about the Centennial events and how that's going to go moving forward with the subcommittee. I attended the Del Riv meeting. They're doing quarterly meetings now at the VFW in Delran, but I think they're actually thinking about coming back to Delanco for their meetings. Everything is pretty much on schedule, same board. They're opening, the registration is open now for softball and baseball. They talked about soccer needing a new commissioner, but they are moving forward with basketball. Their numbers are down about 100 kids year over year for basketball. They blame that on the kindergarten and preschool group. A lot of times kids will come here from other towns because they don't have that age group, so that's kind of where the drop-off comes. But the program's operating well. I attended my first shade tree meeting, had their reorg this past week. John Brown is the chair, and Amber Perlmutter is the co-chair for the first time. They voted to take down 2 trees, and they also went over their list for the year, which is pretty small for removals and trimmings. John did a great job last year cleaning up that list, and Jessica does a nice job as our secretary to keep everybody organized and on track, so that's working out really well. I also attended the 250th subcommittee meeting with Delran and Riverside on the 22nd to go over the 250th events that are going to be throughout the 3 towns, the weekend of 6/26, 27, and 28th. Delanco's event is on 6/28. Right now we have a band booked, a legacy band, 9-piece band that's going to have a stage. We have food trucks, games, lots of fun things. We are going to be booking a free Kona ice truck, lots of family events, and more to come on that to tie in a little bit of Delanco's history. So that is on Sunday, June 28th. And I think that's all I have.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vern, or no, Scott. Sorry.
Sure. As Carolyn said, it was a very busy month. You may have heard we had a winter storm the weekend before last. I spent the prior week and the many days after handling the OEM aspects of the event, the Office of Emergency Management, of which there were many. We had numerous calls with the county coordinators during that time and countless emails, which I'm sure you all have received from me with the various updates. It was a very tough storm to deal with, as John mentioned, with all the ice and all the freezing temperatures, but we lucked out there wasn't more icing on the power lines and the trees, and that would have been a big mess out there. And as you may know, the groundhog saw his shadow this morning, so we may get to do it again. Currently I'm working on the FEMA reimbursements. Thank you to Debbie for sending me all of that, which I'll route to the county. And I saw the numbers for our town. They're high for a small town like us. I can only imagine a larger town like Cinnaminson, Mount Laurel, Marlton, Evesham, for their costs for this sort of storm. So it's kind of eye-opening. I attended the Board of Ed reorg meeting on January 6th, as well as their monthly meeting on January 21st. Eric Mossop is the president again this year. The district hired a few bus drivers and eliminated the shared services agreement with Moorestown for transportation, which I believe was stated would save about $100,000 a year in costs. The Student of the Month awards were given out at the January 21st meeting, and the Teacher of the Month was Miss Rebecca Sharmer, the pre-K teacher extraordinaire. And I'm not sure if I mentioned at last month's meeting, but the number was given again at the last Board of Ed meeting. They raised the PTO raised $18,660 from the basket auction that was held the first week of December. So nice job to them as always. And speaking of fundraising events and the school, I attended the Wrestlepalooza by the River fundraising event that was held at Walnut Street on January 9th. It was a great turnout and everyone had a terrific time. And the school is also hosting another fundraiser entitled Stuck on You, a Valentine's Elvis show on Valentine's Day, of course, featuring an award-winning tribute artist performing as Elvis, and information on that should be on the district's website and Facebook pages. The next Board of Ed meeting is February 18th at 7 p.m. And just want to mention the incredible job of just all the coordination and open communication between Dr. T and Debbie, finally getting everything worked out between the town and the district, and just good communication, which we haven't had that well in the past. On the fire department side, I attended the fire company meeting last Monday and the fire commission meeting the next night. Bruce Herbst is now the president of the fire company for this year, and the fire commission appointed Nick Hubler to the seat vacated by the passing of John Zuber last year. Normal business occurred at the meetings. We're still asking for volunteers to join, and I don't want to say we're hurting for volunteers, but we're hurting for volunteers. So if anyone is interested, go to delancofire.com, fill out an application. And it's not just a Delanco thing, that's a New Jersey and county-wide thing where people just don't want to volunteer anymore. And you heard Chief McSweeney talk about EMS, and they're paid. They're a paid squad, and he's having trouble getting people to work, so you can imagine from the volunteer side. One last thing that's semi-fire department related. One of our fire police officers, George Lynn, had a birthday over the weekend. I attended his 30th birthday party at Dooney's. George was diagnosed with autism at age 3, and in addition to his full-time job at Wegmans and volunteering with various organizations, including the fire department. He travels speaking about his disability and early intervention and the impact of supported employment. There was a feature on him that 6ABC had, I think it was back in November. And he's just one hell of a nice guy. So happy birthday, George. And each and every one of us could learn a lot from George. Finally, I'll give a little self-promotion here. February 26th, I was invited by the library to do a presentation there. I wrote a book on genealogy last year that was put out there, so I'll be doing a presentation on genealogy and DNA. So if anyone's interested, go to delancolibrary.org. Is that it? Yep, delancolibrary.org, and you could register and get information on that event. That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, thank you, Scott. Third.
I'll stay with the library. A lot of things are happening over at the library this month. Let's see, on Saturday, February 7th, 10 a.m., they have sewing at the library. Tuesday, February 17th, 7 p.m., they have their book discussion group. Saturday, the 21st, from 11 to 1, Family Building Day. I think it has something to do with Lego blocks. And then Scott already gave a plug for him, but I had it in my notes also.
You could give it again.
Okay. Thursday, February 26th, at 6:45, meet the author. Scott Bartlett.
Good try, Bern.
Scott Bartlett. Search Angels
Been called
and
worse.
Strangers.
Search Angels and Strangers, yes.
Let's see. Oh, the library also has Take and Make. They have a variety of small crafts that are available each month. Again, with the weather the way it is, if you got little ones that are looking for something to do, stop by the library and get one of the crafts. Let's see. Then I'll go to the history board. We have the CHPP grants from Burlington County, and the 2025 project has to do with our map, and Peter will give a presentation on that a little bit later in the meeting. And then the 2026 CHPP grant, the history board was awarded $6,861 towards the stabilization to conserve our sneak box boat. It's a little bit shy, and Peter may touch on that a little bit later also. Let's see, and History Board is still working on the Veterans Banners program for this year. Let's see, with JIF, or Joint Insurance Fund, Aaron Provenzano, who's one of our clerks here, she was appointed to the Executive Committee, and also under the Safety Committee, she's a cyber representative for the JIF group. Let's see. A reminder for elected officials training. Through the course, we get to save, or we get a credit of $250 per committee person, and I believe the administrators included in that also. So if you haven't gotten that done, if you could do that, that'll help save us some money. And put on your calendars the JIF Safety Breakfast. I think that's Public Works and Police Department, and the committee, Tuesday, March 31st. Just a heads up on that one. Let's see. County Commissioners meeting. Commissioners approved lowering the speed limit on Coopertown Road between the tracks and Burlington Avenue. They were dropping that 5 miles per hour, I think from 35 to 30.
I believe so, yes, that's what they said.
So that's coming, but they were doing that through their Public Works Department.
That's what they said, yeah.
You haven't gotten the heads up on it. Yeah, that'll be coming.
Not from Pennsylvania to, I believe, to Burlington.
Yeah, Pennsylvania Avenue to Burlington Avenue. Yeah, that was requested by the crossing guards. So I'm glad they did that.
Let's see. And then we attended court, and I'll ask Mr. McFadden to share that because I had to cut out before the court session was over. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, I'll make mine short because most of mine combines with Carolyn's. January 6th, I attended the joint land use reorg meeting. Tom Lord was voted as chair, and of course, Beverly Russell was voted as the board secretary. The applications that were put on hold until the February 3rd meeting, and they'll be addressed then. January 8th, I attended the recreation reorg meeting, and like Carolyn had mentioned, congratulations to Al Graboff and Tony Bartlett for chair and co-chair. And we do have a lot of events coming up. Please keep your eye out for different things. If you want to volunteer to help, it's always appreciated. 13th and the 14th, we met for the car show discussion. 15th was the Centennial. We discussed the parking, bands, and the rides. And then the 21st, we attended the court session, as Mr. Arlett had said. The two groups that were supposed to attend the Joint Land Use Board postponed till this month coming up, the February meeting, court date. And like Fern did towards the end, I had to run out to run the Walnut Street School to attend the school board meeting. And that's it for me right now.
Thank you. I attended Recreation and the Board of Ed meeting, so I won't go over those again, except I will mention that at the Board of Ed meeting, student awards were highlighted, and Phil's grandson, Aaron's son, Maverick, was presented with a Student of the Month award. So that was nice. So the seniors met on January 13th. The guest speaker was Helene Weinstein from Riverview Estates, and she spoke about the Riverview and many of the activities and events held there for not only residents but for the general public. And their next meeting is February 10th at the Firehouse. Sewer Authority met on January 13th as well at Town Hall. Officers for the new year were discussed. They'll be decided at our meeting this month. Contractor finally received the county permits for the TV inspections, and the operator's report is on file. Our next meeting, February 10th. I did attend the trash collection meetings along with Phil and our staff and Public Works. And the Backyard Hens had their meeting on January 23rd, and we're updating records and waiting for some information from the clerk's office to see if everybody's on board this year. And that's all I have. Oh, I did a wedding, one wedding so far this year, and that's always a pleasure. So now I'd like to move on to the consent agenda items. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted with a single motion. Any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. Does anyone have any item to be removed? Or I think they're pretty basic, actually, now that 1 and 2 were clarified.
May I ask one question on 2026-47 on the resolution for Babe Ruth park design? Was that for the entire park, or is that just for the, I guess, the playground area?
It's just for the playground. That's actually, I think that's, oh, this is 48.
It's for ordering the equipment through state contract.
Right, and that's, Debbie mentioned that in her report.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome. Ordinance 2026-1, an ordinance of the Township of Delanco to repeal and replace Chapter 58, Fair Housing, and Chapter 60, Section 3, Development Fees. First reading by title only, and set public hearing date for March 2, 2026 at 7 p.m. Ordinance 2026-2, calendar year 2026. ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, according to NJSA 40A:4-45.14. First reading by title only and set public hearing for March 2, 2026 at 7 p.m. Resolution 38 to amend employment contract with Superintendent of Public Works. Resolution 39 appointing Julia Edmondson, Chief Financial Officer, as qualified purchasing agent. Resolution 40 transferring Jaron Jackson to the City of Beverly. Resolution 41 hiring Jasmine Vaccaro, transfer from Riverside, as police officer. Resolution 42 approving shared service agreement with Delanco Public Schools for building maintenance. Resolution 43 authorizing Burlington County Division of Mosquito Control to conduct aerial larva adult mosquito control activities and authorizing execution of municipal agreement form. Resolution 44 authorizing the Township of Delanco through the Township of Delanco Police Department to participate in the Defense Logistics Agency Law Enforcement Support Office 1033 program to enable the Township of Delanco Police Department to request and acquire access Department of Defense equipment. Resolution 45, dispose of out-of-service police equipment. Resolution 46, authorizing professional services of engineering, design, bidding material, testing, DOT reporting, inspection, and contract administration for 2026 New Jersey DOT Municipal Aid Road Program. I believe that's Hickory Street, Harry?
That's correct, Mayor.
Yeah. Resolution 47, authorizing professional services for Babe Ruth Park design, specifications and submittal services. Resolution 48, authorizing professional services for Babe Ruth Park design, specifications and submittal services.
That's the wrong title for that one.
That's the
Mayor.
same thing, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
That's the wrong title. It's actually that extra one that I put in your packet.
Okay, it's authorizing the purchase of playground equipment under ESCNG Cooperative Purchasing Contract in accordance with NJSA 40A:11-1 et seq. Approve payment of bills in the amount of $1,924,861.34 as per the bill list runs dated January 26 and February 3, 2026. Approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Got Bartlett and Phil McFadden. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett.
Yes.
Mr. McFadden.
Yes.
Mr. Olet.
Yes.
Ms. Seuss.
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Yes. Correspondence, Beth?
I did receive one letter, which is also part of your discussion for later this evening. On January 8th, we received a letter from Ryan Walter, Delanco resident, who is interested in volunteering for the Recreation Commission.
Okay. While we're there right now, I mean, I was at the Recreation Commission meeting. Carolyn, several of us were there, and they discussed that, and they recommended that he be appointed this alternate position. So if does anyone have any questions or concerns, I think we could just do a motion to approve his appointment.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Do we do a roll call for that?
We can.
Okay.
And all in favor?
All in favor is good then. All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. So before I open the meeting to the public, I'd like to ask Peter and John to come forward and talk about the map and anything else you want to add from the history board.
Thank you. I'm John Nardone, 625 2nd Street, and I'm chairman of the history board. About a year or so ago, Peter acquired this map, which was by Richard Wilmerton, an original layout of the town with the lots and everything, the streets all laid out, was done in 1856. The Newton's Landing Historical Society had it, and they're disbanding, so they offered it to us. with the support of the committee, we went to the county and requested a grant to have it restored. It was in pretty good shape, but it was rolled up. And if you've ever seen any of those old TV shows where they can't unwrap something because it's so old, they're afraid of breaking it, that's what the problem was with this. We took it to the Conservation Center in Philadelphia. They had it almost a year, but they unwrapped it, they mounted it under glass in that case, and they preserved the paper so that it's really in good shape. And it's been a real success for us, I think. They did a really good job, and when Peter gets up to tell you more, I'll show it to you.
Okay.
Do we have a spot for it, where we're gonna hang it?
We're thinking either here or the library, but we're open to suggestions.
I'd like to see it here.
Yeah, it would be nice to have it here if we can find a nice place for
We'll
it.
see. I think that's a good spot for it, though.
Yeah, good.
Okay, Peter Fritz, 303 Union Avenue. And John did a pretty good job there. Once you get a chance to take a look at it, you understand that Delanco was a planned community. This was farmland. And Richard Wilmerton inherited the land from his family and determined that it had more value as a town than it did in raising corn and peaches. So he laid out in about 1856, he laid everything out, everything was surveyed, and what we have found is the town was built out almost exactly the way that they had laid it out in 1856. One of the nice features of this map is that the detail level. I've seen similar maps before, but the detail of this is really wonderful because it identifies certain areas of town that were designated for certain things. For instance, the Civic Center, which we sometimes call the Village Green, which is that large lot behind the Walnut Street School, was designated on that map as being public space, and it has been public space since that time. And all of the lot numbers, both for Delanco that were laid out by Richard Wilmerton, and also the area along the Delaware River, had a different numbering system. Their numbering system was in Roman numerals, the other one was in Arabic numerals, and so we know what the exact lot numbers are for the whole town. And that's helpful because some of our old deeds still refer to the Wilmerton lot numbers. Sometimes they'll give two different numbers, but they'll often give the Wilmerton lot number, and it's nice that we can connect that to what these areas were in those times. Anyway, we were pleased that we were able to get a grant. Last time I was up here, I mentioned that part of the grant was these books, which are self-guided tour books of our historic riverfront area that was recommended back in 1976. And we've had these out now, and people have been taking them. I wanted to thank Public Works for putting a lucite box, a plastic box out at the new historic park where we have these, where you can pick them up, so people can pick them up any time of the day. We also have them here, and we also put them out when we have tables out for the public. I don't know that there's anything else I could tell you about the map. Yes, I'm glad to hear that you'd like to have it here. We would like to have it here too. One of the problems with this building is wall space, because everything seems to be either a door or a window. But if we can,
UV protected glass?
it is, and I believe that there's some treatment that's between the glass and the map that helps to preserve it from any further damage. I should mention that the project was not just unrolling the map, but it was also digitizing the map and having a good copy made, that if we're going to go out someplace like, about the Field of Dreams or something like that, and we want to put it on display, that we're not taking this and exposing it to the weather. And because we have it digitized, we can also make copies of it. So there's a possibility that we might be able to make those available to the public for a fee.
That's nice.
So that's helpful. We put in our final report for last year. So far, I haven't heard anything negative from the county about the grant and how we handled everything. And as Fern talked about for this year, we put in a grant to get that sneak box stabilized, not made seaworthy, not floatable, but so that it doesn't fall apart when we move it on a trailer from, one place to another. So we put in a grant for that. We got the estimate from the Independent Seaport Museum in Philadelphia that has a wonderful boat shop, and they gave us a estimate, and based on the estimate, we asked for a $10,000 grant. What happened was that we got the grant, but it came in for 68. You have the number for
6,700.
Yeah, 68 something. Yes, and which is more money than we've ever gotten through the county, but it wasn't enough to complete the grant. So since then, we put in for some ancillary money, matching money from the one-time basis from the township so that we can do the whole boat, because you can't really do 2/3 of a boat. You have to kind of do all of it or none of it. So that's where we are with that. Any questions that you have? I also wanted to mention that from the Joint Land Use Board, that Stephen Lohr is going to be our liaison person. We're very pleased to have Stephen back with us, as we're pleased having Fern as our liaison to the Township Committee. So any questions that you folks might have of what trouble we're getting into these days?
No, I think you're doing a great job, and I want to thank you for those pictures you sent me, because we did identify that houseboat.
So it was your grandfather's houseboat that we
It wasn't
found.
complete, it didn't have the roof yet.
Oh, okay.
If you look at it, you can see it doesn't have the roof on it, but so he did build it there, and then he moved it around to the Delaware with his skiff.
Yep. As we used to tell the story, that he built it on the Delaware riverfront, on cinder blocks, basically. But what we found was a historical photo of the Rancocas Creek that shows the boat under construction at the shipyard.
At the shipyard,
on the Rancocas Creek, and then evidently they floated it around and then brought it, hauled it up.
On the Stockton's property, yeah, that was my grandfather's houseboat, that's where they lived
Yep.
for,
So when I
40
took a look at the picture, I said, this houseboat looks awfully familiar, and I sent
Yeah,
it to Kate, and she identified it.
Yeah,
as
that,
being-
thank you, we really appreciated that. I
Sure.
shared that with my brother, we had a nice conversation about that, thank you.
Very good. Okay, well, no questions, I'm done, thanks.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, John. So I'll open the meeting to the public for comments and questions. This is general session, session 2.
Okay, I have a few, I have Harold Klingler, 509 Buttonwood Street. I have a few questions about the snow and the storm and stuff like that. So seen some stuff online, whether it's official, unofficial, that it was like $250 fine for not clearing your sidewalk. And I was wondering if that's correct. It is $250, or does anybody know?
No, what they would do is they would issue a citation, and then you would have to appear before municipal court, and the judge would make a determination.
Oh, so it could be $1 million?
Yeah. I don't think so.
Okay, so this storm was pretty unique. Now, I have a fairly large property. I mean, not like Donald Trump, but a large property. And I'm on a corner, and I have, over 100 feet one way and over 100 feet the other way. And that thing I was lucky to have a snow blower at the time and did it the first time with a snow blower, but then it just came right back down again, and then the freezing rain right on top of it. And the thing was an ice skating ring, and the snow blower was not going to work on it. So I had to get out there with a steel shovel and break the ice and shovel it away. And that took me 2 days, and it almost killed me. I'm 74 years old. I'm in pretty good shape for 74, but I'm not in that kind of shape. So I don't think I'm ever going to do that again. I don't care how much snow comes down or what ordinance. I don't think I'm going to do that again. So it would be nice if the township could maybe put out some information on where to get contractors to come and remove snow, and ones that are actually going to show up and do it. Because, you know, they're saying they're going to come and do it, and then get in a storm like that, and then they might not show up, and then I don't want to end up in court. The other thing I saw was that there was put out by the emergency messages on to the phones. It said, don't be shoveling your sidewalk and putting it out into the street, which I understand. But in some cases, especially right where I live on my street, across the street from me is a dental office, which used to be the township building. So there's all that parking there next to that building, and it's mostly used by renters on Burlington Avenue, and maybe a few renters on Buttonwood Street. And so they went out and shoveled their cars out after the storm, and all they did was they didn't put it in the street. They threw it right up on the guy's sidewalk, the sidewalk. He already had his sidewalks done, and now they're throwing it back on top of his sidewalk because they really don't have any, you know, I don't know, what would you say? You know, anything that holds them to the town. They're just renters. So I don't know what happens in that case. If you've done your sidewalks and then next thing you know, your sidewalks are filled again by people that don't even live there. I don't know what happens with that. But
I don't know if they can file a complaint. I don't know, Chief.
Well, they would have to. I mean, you
Yeah.
saying it's not your property.
The individual, the person whose property was, the snow was put back on, they would have to file a complaint.
yeah, it gets pretty crazy after a while.
It is, and this was a very unusual, as you said, unusual storm. And there's just no place to put the snow. You heard John.
Right.
He's
No, I
clearing the
understand that.
streets, and he has nowhere to put the snow, so.
I understand that, but I guess what I'm really saying is the ordinance has no empathy for what's going on the sidewalks.
But the township does. The
Yeah.
township hasn't enforced it for a week, so.
Yeah, they did extend it.
I heard that, I understand that, but I was just
You didn't leave it that, though.
trying to give you my personal experience from a snowstorm.
And I think, Hal, that the whole motivation of having an ordinance and having fines is for people to do the right thing. Because you have some houses on Burlington Avenue, right between Magnolia and Peachtree, it's a week now, and kids are slipping on the ice and the snow there because two or three homeowners have decided they're too good not to clear the snow. If 90% of the town is able to do it, you should be able to do it. Not you specifically, but...
Well, I'm just saying that I did see people reaching out from the town the usual way on Facebook, saying that they're too old, they can't go out and remove that ice, they were asking for help from anybody that could help them. So I don't know if those people there on Magnolia are that case or wherever they're from. But I know there were people out there that could not move that stuff. And, you know, and whether they could get help. And my understanding, people that have people under contract all the time, they were having a hard time getting anybody to come and do anything because it was so bad.
Well, I think that's really why the township extended the time period to give people more time. And it is a difficult, it's difficult. It would be difficult for anyone to remove that. The ice was almost 3 inches thick if it was still on top of the snow. And it was heavy. And I don't know what the township can do other than try to enforce the ordinance, but give some extensions in some cases. But we need to provide safety for the people that have to walk.
Right.
And especially the school children. But if we can compile a list of contractors, people have contractors that they hired, and some of them didn't show up. I mean, I know some people that had contractors to do their driveways. They didn't show up. They were
Right.
too busy. They were overwhelmed.
Right.
So it was let's hope we don't have to have something like this happen again in town. But believe me, your message is heard because we've heard it from more than one person.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I had a neighbor
understand we
that
haven't
called
had
me.
this in 20 years.
Exactly.
So-
Well, not only the amount of snow, but the ice factor on it
Right.
and compounding it. The other thing I will say is that, you know, these ordinances are in place, but they're also, that we have the ability, as happened here, to apply rational extensions.
Flexibility.
Judges have compassion if you have reasons as to, you know, what you tried to do and what worked and didn't work to resolve it. I will say, you know, we have an experience where, John, I don't know if you remember this, but we actually added provisions to the ordinance to specifically say you can't basically plow your snow back out and put it in the middle of the street on the theory that the plow is going to come back around and do it. We might be done, as happened one time. So, you know, you legislate sometimes for the 1% that don't think about the rest of the community, and everybody gets impacted by that. But I wouldn't recommend any changes based upon what we just experienced because it was such a unique storm.
Yeah.
And every town was in the same situation. On every Facebook page, everybody was complaining, and there's only so much that they could do with the way the snow came down with the ice and the ineffectiveness of salt under 15 degrees. So I think everybody did the best they could.
Right,
We certainly
yeah,
are
I agree.
empathetic.
I think everybody did the best
Yeah.
they could. And, but I just wanted to, you know, bring the point that, you know, some people just can't do it.
Understood.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'll close this portion of the meeting to the public, and we'll go into our discussion items. And the first item is amending the Township Code, Chapter 238-7. It's the shade tree appeal process. John, do you have a copy of it? What we're proposing is because that process is after 2 or more visits to the Shade Tree Commission, if I recall this properly, that they can appeal to the township. They appeal it to the documentation to the administrator. They have 30 days to give any additional information if the administrator needs something more, and then the administrator presents it to the Township Committee. So what we are proposing is, and maybe I should have Doug actually do it because I asked him to.
I'll just add that in the interim step 2, I looked back at the statute. There's nothing in the statute that speaks about what the mandatory appeal process is. And I looked at other municipal codes. Some have very limited appeal or don't speak to the appeal process at all, which basically means if you're not happy with shade tree, I assume you go right to court, which is not very efficient. But based upon that review and the discussion and concerns, it just isn't a very efficient process that we have on the books right now. And so the proposed amendment would to basically be an appeals subcommittee that would consist of the township administrator, the public works supervisor, and the Shade Tree Commission liaison from the governing body. So those three people would receive the information and have the ability to meet, whether in person or virtually, and make a determination, and then that would be put down in writing and circulated back to both the Shade Tree Commission and to the resident. You know, we sat through, I think those hearings took probably an hour, and then they came back a second time. So it's just, I couldn't find any other town who's doing it that way. I don't think generally governing bodies should be in a quasi-judicial appeal type process. So this seemed to be a mechanism where we could still have an appeal process in place, have people who have some sense of both, you know, tree issues and public works issues, safety issues, those sorts of things. And poor Deborah stuck in the middle of that, and then, you know, try and come to some fair resolution if appeals, and it would be a faster process, less cumbersome for everybody involved.
Right. John, you want to come up and address it? I can give you a copy of it if you want. But... Okay.
Yeah. John Brown, 313 Peachtree. Hello again. First, while I have the pulpit, good job on getting a female officer. That was one of my goals, and never was able to do it, so we need it.
Definitely.
Good job. Okay. The appeals process, Doug, we did this. Fern, Kate, we were on the board, and we batted this around for a year and a half, I think, to what are we going to do with the shade tree ordinance. And it was at the very end of writing this that we made some consignments, or I think that's the word, that we had to give back, okay? You guys can simply pull it out. If you don't want to deal with the appeal, pull it out. We never had it before, okay? So trust your shade tree folks who are educated, who continually get educated, and the shade tree professional, Kevin Sibilia. We don't just throw decisions out there. The other night, 2 trees were slated to come down. I didn't agree with it, but they did, and I was overruled. I know the appeal process was in its early stages last year. It was kind of stressful. Take it out, okay? That's one idea. The other idea I had, I wish that maybe we could sit subcommittee to subcommittee, 2 people from the shade tree, 2 people from the township committee. Let's sit down and talk about what we can do, okay, to make it better for everybody. Maybe Deborah could be there before we go back into first reading of any ordinance change, okay? Because right now, is the way I see it, you don't, the way that I read it, you're not going to welcome back the homeowner. And I would think that if they're the ones to appeal the decision, that they should have that right to speak to you so they can tell you their side of the story, what their problem is, okay? And vice versa, where the shade tree commissioners, they can also tell you what they have found. So I was a little bit surprised, when this was on the agenda for tonight, hence that's why I'm here. Doug, my question, if we do get a subcommittee going, you won't be there, but appeal.
I've already been uninvited.
You're too pricey. We always try to cut you out if we can. He's a bargain. Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But in an appeal in a court of law, doesn't the appellant and the defendant all have a right to go back to an appeals court?
So the statute doesn't provide for any appeal process.
Right.
Due process can be whatever we rationally define it to be.
Okay.
So I think, again, some towns don't talk about it at all, and I think you were referencing, I think our code originally probably took that approach. And to me, you're basically telling a resident, if you're not happy with the Shade Tree Commission, there's no internal appeal process. You have to go right to Superior Court on a formal complaint. That's a very expensive proposition, right? So,
yeah, but they can do that with a land use board decision too.
Right, but usually what's at issue with a land use board decision, and this is why people make economic decisions all the time, but depending on how much is at stake financially, they may find it worthwhile to go to court versus it'd be difficult in my mind to imagine that there's going to be a lot of instances where someone's going to spend the money to go to court on a tree issue. And so then the issue just becomes like, okay, we've allowed for some sort of appeal process. How do we do this more efficiently? And that's kind of the discussion that's been had.
But we do, excuse me 1 second, I want to get my notes. I have worried about that appeal process because it really does give the homeowner, they can go to bat twice, strike out, and then they can come before the board. And the board has more important things to do than to listen about a tree. So I do understand that.
And I think that's why the homeowner would still be a part of the appeal process. I think you had originally said that we cut them out. We didn't cut them out. But the other 3 people would be the township administrator, the superintendent of public works, and the liaison to your board.
Right.
The township liaison to your board.
But then we're all out of it.
Well, the township liaison, whoever that may be, whether it be me, Carolyn, Matt,
Right, because we had Fern, and he did a great job a couple years ago, Mike Templeton, and we didn't really have the appeals until last year, I don't think. We had one, and
we had 2.
You guys are actually winning, you got a winning record, so why are you trying to get rid of it?
So I think, Debbie, do you want to interject of kind of how the additional information will be presented?
Yeah.
The change does allow for reasonable requests for additional information, so I read that as contacting the homeowner and talking to them.
Or even Shade Tree if we needed additional
Absolutely,
information.
either
So essentially,
or.
liaison should represent what your majority feels is the decision. So liaison shouldn't have their own opinion in that.
At least be able to articulate and convey what the
right.
reasons were, Shade Tree made the decision they made.
I mean, back in the day, we didn't have liaisons to all these boards. We had director of this, director of that. I mean, even though you're sitting in on the meetings now, back liaisons weren't always there. So you have to listen, I as chair lean on our professionals. I lean on Bill Madlevich, he's a lot smarter than I am. And, we make our decisions based on that. And then if it gets thrown to you guys, wouldn't you want that information maybe have the appeals at a different time, like in the conference room during the week or something? That's why I say maybe we should have a subcommittee meeting and try to lay out all the parameters. I got to go back to my board and say, hey, we got this in front of us.
Well,
I didn't even hear about it until yesterday.
I think it's a better process than what's on the books right now, and it would be just a better process, John.
I just want to make everybody happy, including the residents.
Exactly, and that gives the resident an opportunity to supply the information and any additional information if the subcommittee for the appeal process wants to reach out to Shade Tree for any additional information, but they have your minutes, which would be a part of it. They would have the application from the resident. I mean, all that information is provided. It's part of the appeal process. So they would have all of that. They would have Kevin's report. All of that is part of the package.
I understand what John's saying, though, because I feel like we did ask them questions when they were here that weren't addressed initially. So I understand what he's saying as far as maybe we have a specific question while we have the meeting. Do we have to pick up the phone and call at that point? Or do we just make it to where the subcommittee can bring in a rep from the Shade Tree Commission and then the homeowner to that meeting if they so chose to? We would still have that option.
I think we could still work on this.
Okay.
Right now, we don't have anything being debated. We don't have growth yet. But we will. Spring is around the corner. Yes, I said it, spring. And God bless you with the snow removal, because I remember sitting up there hearing Ralph McCullough, boy, he would.
His chair, we mentioned him. His chair was where Hal's sitting right now.
Yeah.
That was
Every snowstorm.
that was
No
Ralph
one was
McCullough's
happy.
chair. I actually had a label made for his chair, if you recall, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
John.
And John and his crew,
When's your next Shade Tree?
would be the 4th Wednesday of February.
February.
So is there any other comments, John, before I
Yeah.
ask the the committee what they want to do?
Yeah, you know, the other option, and I only bring this up because Doug is here, but it has been discussed before. Everyone's unhappy with the Shade Tree Commission, okay? I had talked to Carolyn, I said, you guys could always disband us, you know, go to a Shade Tree Committee. But then we're losing a lot, aren't we?
Well, I think we ought to talk about what we would lose and whether there's enough there that is a concern. You could still have a Shade Tree Advisory Board, which to me gets to do all the good stuff without having to deal with the tree process. The issue then becomes, we'd have to have somebody in-house at the township level who deals with tree removal requests. So.
And you don't want that.
Well. It's
look at
just,
John, do they want that?
Want what?
Another snowstorm.
John's taking the fifth.
I mean, I will say,
What
like,
they're gonna
every.
do is they're gonna push it on me, and then I'll.
Yeah, well, see, I've always felt the Shade Tree Commission is a buffer to John, okay? We can't just let the homeowners contact him directly or fill out a form and it
It
goes
wouldn't
to
necessarily
John.
be John. It would have to be somebody who's got some training in tree issues, but there's towns who have people who deal with the tree permits.
Yeah.
What you're looking for is common sense.
Sense, exactly.
What
If
you're looking
everything was
for
common sense, we wouldn't
is
have any
common
ordinances on the
sense.
books at all.
Yeah, I
Common
would just
sense.
ask, maybe consider a subcommittee meeting so that my board members, we know we're gonna work on it together and we can come together on this and make your decision and not,
Yeah, I think that's.
I remember that appeal process, man, we kind of put that together in the end, or, you know, it's like we had to give something back to the homeowners, so,
Yeah, and I think it's important. I don't think you should just drop it.
okay.
I really think it's important, and if you feel, I mean, I also feel that Shade Tree Commission has some value to Delanco, because of Tree City USA.
We've been
and-
doing a lot of good work. We
And
really-
there's some other,
We
some
got
other
trees in the ground
benefits
last
for-
year, we got the list caught up.
Yeah.
Just a couple little things I gotta talk to John about, but other than that, we're moving right along, so.
So,
Thanks for your time, folks. and-
you're welcome, John. So
got
do you want to set up a subcommittee to discuss it, and we would take 2 members, maybe from your board, and 2 members
I'm sure
from,
we could do it during the day.
from our
I can get
township?
out now. And Amber, I know she works, but I think she works out of home, so,
I think
Or
Fridays are good for her, maybe.
okay. Yeah, we should sit down and talk.
Sounds
All right,
good.
guys, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John, for your comments. The next item is the Centennial Celebration Seal. I guess everybody got a copy of this. I did send it to Susan to take a look at, because I think it's a little busy and a little dark, but she was in a car accident, and she hasn't really been able to do too much, so
Well, it's much darker when you print it like that than it's the actual.
I just think it's a little too busy. If you can lighten it up somehow. That's my comments. I like the sailboat because I'm a sailor.
See what
But-
it looks like on my screen? It's much lighter.
Yeah, I can you even lighten it up a little more. Like, I just think it's too dark. This has black, yeah.
Sure eyes.
It's
Light.
pretty dark, yeah.
That one.
That's better
That's lighter.
than this, yeah. This is
Yeah.
pretty dark.
It's lighter.
Yeah, it's much lighter. It's actually really light. There's my resolution turned up, so.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, because
that's
this
just
was really,
Yeah, that's very dark.
Yeah.
It is pretty light, and it's the actual red, white, and blue of the flag.
right.
It's the authentic colors, so you don't want to lighten it up any more than it wouldn't actually look great. And we're also picturing a sunset, so.
Yeah,
it's
Susan,
dusk.
Susan's comment was, because I just sent it to her, I said, we're looking at this, because Susan did this. Susan Matera did our seal. So I wanted her comments, and she thought it was too busy and too dark, too. So,
I don't really, I mean, I respect Susan, but I don't really
She's
need
an
her
artist.
opinion in this
Yeah, but-
she's a graphic artist.
Yeah, but you should
I
be the only one that has a say in it.
Yeah. I don't know how anybody, there were my comments. Anybody else have any comments?
Well, I like the idea of the bridge being there, because we have the bridge that
There's
goes
a bridge.
from Delanco to Riverside.
Right.
You got the sailboat, trees.
There's no tree.
Sorry, John.
There's no tree,
There's no
John.
tree. Oh, yeah, that one has trees. Are we trying to represent 2026? Or are we looking at,
No, we're representing Delanco.
okay,
So
but
that's
a
the
time,
bridge
the
and,
time frame?
well, 100 years. So that bridge has been there for how long, right?
Yeah, okay.
Much longer than the railroad
Much-
bridge. That's not ours.
Yeah, that's the
Right.
railroad bridge, yeah.
And sailboat and the creek.
And that's not ours
I
either.
mean, we can't put the mansion on there. That's not
Oh,
ours.
No.
So like, what's our landmark, so to speak?
So the bridge, yeah, and, maybe, maybe lighten it up by having the flag just on the border and not on the inside. Does anybody else have any comments? Am I the only one?
I sent it to Phil and Matt. They both liked it.
Yeah, I looked at it.
Scott.
Okay.
I don't have
So
an
what do
issue
you
with
think?
it.
Yeah, I didn't really notice the flags on the outside versus the inside. I just thought it sort of carried over, but, yeah.
I think the printer just definitely makes it look darker than it actually is.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. So if
Yeah.
you can definitely make sure that it's a lighter view, Carolyn.
Look,
Because
if
I
you
just-
see
If
like,
you look on the screen, it's much lighter than when they printed it.
Right.
you look at the
Yeah.
sky, you look at the water.
Yeah, it's very light.
It looks,
That's
it looks,
10 times
and it
darker.
looks 10 times better than this to
Yep.
me. Because when I printed this, I thought, oh my God, that's.
Yeah,
a
no,
lot.
that looks terrible.
Yeah, okay. All right, so is everybody in agreement with it then? Because I know that Carolyn wants to get going with that.
I'm good.
And why we mentioned the bridge, I received a telephone call today from George Nikita from the Bridge Commission. He's a consultant with them now, and they finally went out to contract for the repairs that are necessary for the Riverside Delanco Bridge, which they hope those repairs will start in 2 weeks. I said, well, George, the creek is solid. I said that it's tidal water, but I live right here. It's not moving. It's not going up and down. It's got to be, I don't know how deep it's frozen. But anyway, they are going to start repairing it. It needs, those pilings need to be done. They have trees in between them, and hopefully it will be painted, but not until maybe the end of summer they'll start the painting. But that was a nice phone call. I've been working on that for 20 years, getting that bridge repainted and fixed up. So things take a long time in government. It's unbelievable. But so we're okay with this. We don't need do we need a resolution or a vote or anything? Good. Okay, Carolyn, thank you. And we certainly don't need a resolution for executive session. Does anybody else have any comments?
Mayor, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Harry.
I saw something during the meeting. I'm not sure if everyone's aware or not, but the DEP approved the new stormwater management rules.
Oh, yeah.
It's called the REAL rules.
Oh, yes, definitely.
It's resilient environments and landscapes is what REAL stands for. REAL, it's called REAL. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is regard to 401 Creek. What the new rules, they're very technical, there's a lot involved with it. But being on, there's two different areas, the tidal area and non-tidal. In the tidal areas, it's actually a little bit more lax than the non-tidal as far as what's required for stormwater design. But essentially what it does is it creates what they're calling a flood hazard zone. They add 4 feet to FEMA's 100-year flood zone. So essentially, it's the 100-year flood zone in Grand Cocos is 10, so it will be an elevation of 14. And what that means, it doesn't mean you can't build in there. Just if you build in there, it has to be flood resistant. Or actually flood proof, not even resistant. And engineering reports would have to be done showing that it is. So it really wouldn't affect, our local ordinance right now requires the same thing. Our local ordinance requires 4 feet above the FEMA elevation for any finished first floor. And so it wouldn't affect the height of the buildings. There are some infrastructure issues, but there's nothing overly substantial that would prevent any development on that property.
Good.
And for the public, this it does not affect anyone who has flood insurance. It does not affect your flood insurance at all. The flood zone is governed by FEMA, so that would stay exactly the same. It's not affected by that. It's essentially new development. It has to be built to withstand a flood. And again, it doesn't mean you can't build in that zone. It just has to be built, and an engineering report would have to be done.
So basically, kind of like you told us last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much what,
Yep.
there was a lot of comments, and they revised, originally it was 5 feet, and they lowered it from the comments down to 4 feet.
And that's just living space, right? Like you could have a garage under that?
Habitable space. correct.
Habitable
Right.
space,
Yeah.
yeah. So, okay.
That's good. Thanks, Harry.
Well,
Anything else?
Yes, with our meeting agendas, and we post them on the official bulletin board here inside the building. And I would like us to consider using, for the township committee meetings, to post it on the bulletin board outside the door, because our agendas get posted normally on Friday afternoons, and no one can get in the building till Monday. So if we put it outside the building and the bulletin board's out there, at least people can drive up and read the agenda. Not the, I guess the...
Just the 3 or 4 pages,
Right,
yeah.
the 3 or 4 pages there.
Isn't it posted online?
Not everybody goes online.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, we tell people to go to the official bulletin board in town, or at...
Well, that's because that's what the statute says we have to say.
Well, okay, we say it, but let's, let's be upfront and
So
just put it
let's-
out there.
Bev, you have a
Mayor,
comment?
I mean, we certainly could do that, but
Yeah.
our agendas are not posted on the bulletin board.
Yeah.
They're not required to be posted ahead of time. We do put them on the website, but I mean, we can certainly make them available. We did have someone came in today before I had a chance to print them and ask for it, so we printed it for them.
Yeah.
So anyone can always request it ahead of time, but we're not required by statute to have them posted.
The only thing on the
Meeting
bulletin
dates.
board is just the annual schedule.
The meeting
Yeah,
schedule,
that,
yeah.
The meeting
ordinances,
schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they're adopted, we post those minutes between the time that they're approved by all of you, and they go on the website there, we put them out there.
With the agendas on the website.
The agenda's on the website, yes, but it's not required to be on the website or the.
Okay. So how many people here, by raise of hands, how many people get our email blasts? Everybody should have their hand raised. Just about everybody does, because Delanco Township sends out emails for everything that's happening in town, everything that, if there's an issue, and then you can go on the website to get the agenda. But if you think helping to put this out front, I don't know if you want to put it in every one, because it's going to be 3 or 4 pages, so it's going to take up a lot, but maybe we could just put it on the bulletin board out front.
Yeah, just right up here.
And do an email blast that anybody's interested in what's happening, they can visit the agenda at the bulletin board on Town Hall.
If
Yes.
they're getting an email blast, they could just look at it online.
Right, they could, but...
Are you talking about the stuff that comes over the emergency manual?
No, I'm talking about Delanco. Go on delancotownship.com, and if you look on that screen, on the right-hand side, down the bottom, you can sign up for our emails. You can put your email address in there, and you will get everything that's happening in this town, everything that's happening in the library, every event, everything about trash and recycling. I mean, people that go on Facebook to say, is the trash collection today or tomorrow? I mean, we send emails out for all of that, and if you got that email address, you would be up to date on everything that's happening in this, with regard to the town, the library, and any other entity that tells us that they would like to be included in our what's happening.
Well, that answers my question, because I'm getting information from all kinds of places, and I'm saying, is this officially from the township or what? But now I know where it is.
Yes, and I'm sure Jackie can help you sign up for that. And if you aren't signed up for our emails, you should be, definitely.
Yeah, and the emergency alerts you're talking about, Hal, that's the ones that I send out from OEM. Those are completely
Different.
independent from the township ones. We send them out through a program called Connexus that the county runs. It sends it out via text, email. We have it connected to the social media, and we tried doing the call you by phone, but for some reason it didn't work
Nope,
this past
said
one.
error.
Some people had
Yeah.
decided to hang up and say error, but it had a nice recording in Inglés and Español. That's a completely separate system from the township mailers.
Okay. Peter?
Yeah, just a quick question. Which one announces when we have bridge closings because of the flood?
None.
Is that on?
Nixle. I thought it was
The
Nixle.
county promised that
I
they were
have
going to
it.
be sending that out last year, and they didn't.
I have one that tells me when the bridges are going to be closed.
Yeah, not the Delanco Bridge though.
They haven't had a closing since.
Well, that's
They
not
have.
part of Nixle though.
I think
They
it
don't
is.
do it.
They haven't had the
Burlington
closing
County
for the
and
flooding.
Palmyra.
They've had plenty of closings for boats, and they were supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
The Burlington County Bridge Commission said that they were going to send the notifications out. They told Riverside PD that, and Riverside blasted to their residents, but then they just dropped the ball.
Well, I guess I'll talk to the Bridge Commission about that again. And the chief, I wanted to let you know that George did say that the Bridge Commission will be in touch with you because they may have closings.
I spoke to him already.
Yeah, he's going to be in touch with you.
I spoke to him.
Oh, did you? Oh,
Yep.
good. Okay.
They called me actually at the end of the year to advise me
Yeah.
early, and then I told them to meet in a month.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's coming.
For the work that, yeah, okay, good.
No, this is on the bridge, so it has nothing to do with
Usually.
us.
Exactly, Peter.
Okay.
They're supposed to anyway.
Yeah, I thought they were supposed to be on Nixle, but I forgot about the bridge
Yeah, they moved
openings.
them.
The bridge openings like that, I can't imagine how they can do that because that bridge opens from 11 in the morning now to only 8 at night. It used to be 24 hours at one time. So that is not something that they can notify us on for a boat.
Yeah, for a regular, like a boat opening, that's only 5 minutes.
5 minutes,
But
yeah.
the
But for a
closings for flooding
storm,
and storms, they were supposed to send out, and they dropped the ball on that.
yeah.
Well, they don't close it half the time. The police do, and
Yeah,
that's the problem.
it
Yeah,
didn't
there
get
was-
closed this past year for that. I mean, I live right there. I see it. Yes, John?
I don't know if I send a letter to them or to just general. If we could have their camera facing Pavilion Avenue, I know there's a marina in Florida with fish that jump out, and you can go on their camera at any time. But running a business, when my customers call from over the bridge and they want to know if they can get over here, I don't know what to tell them. But if I could go online and take a look at that camera and say, yeah, you don't want to go that way today, you want to go up to Edgewater Park. I don't know how far-fetched that is, but it's not more than cameras.
You can call M. Scott, he always knows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we actually asked them if we could actually get access to the bridge cameras to have online, and our hand was smacked and said, no, they're for official police business only.
But we can't trust the barriers anymore since they're closed, because, they're up and it's been open, I see cars coming both ways.
Yeah, I was actually thinking last year of a way that we could do that, and I was going to talk to a couple property owners who are around there, whether Shirley for her business that's right there, or any of them that butt up to the creek, even Kate's house, if we could put a camera out there on our porch.
Or put one on Gateway Park.
Online. Yeah,
Yeah.
we want internet that we
I know
can
Don
siphon. But
Simon's got one on his back that.
Or you could put one on my, yeah.
We need to see the flood, if it's flooded.
In
Yeah.
Riverside, 'cause it's only
It's in
Riverside.
Riverside.
It's Riverside
You
side.
gotta
What is
go
wrong with
all
this
the way back around.
It doesn't flood in Delanco, it floods in Riverside.
Yep.
Yeah.
The camera from Kate's house is not getting the
You're not
flood.
gonna-
No, you're not going
But
to
it'll
see
see the
it.
bridge closed.
You'll just see the bridge.
Not necessarily,
And you'll
because
see
people
if
still
cars are
drive.
coming or not, yeah.
It drives
No,
through.
you'll still see cars coming over the bridge because people are idiots and they will drive through the water
Yeah.
and get stuck. But somebody might make it, so someone else thinks I can make it too.
Yeah.
So you'll see a car come across the bridge when that sign is up because it is closed.
Yeah.
But it's flooded over in Riverside at Dammer Scott Street. You're not seeing it from Kate's porch.
You have a
No,
lifted
you're not.
You have
You're
a lifted
not.
F-350 going through the water, and then the little guy with his little Honda.
Thinks he can make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he gets stuck in the water. Yeah, it's not happening.
Can't fix
I'll look
stupid.
into that, John. Okay. And Scott, he's going to look into it too. Yeah. Well, it's M. Scott
I don't know
Bartlett
John, that's all
now.
right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Please.
I'll make a
Phil.
motion.
Okay, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.